Many lives, beliefs, and faiths, many minds refuse to change, but there is one source of life, and we all know this deep inside. Many rivers all returning in their own way to one source. Many rivers all converging with the one unchanging force in our lives. Many souls upon the earth, many lost lives, many hurts, but there is one force we all feel. There is one love that will heal. Many rivers all returning in their own way to one source. Many rivers all converging with the one unchanging force in our lives. Though our eyes may fool our minds, in our hearts we recognize we're not two souls, you and I. We are one in our source of life. Many rivers all returning in their own way to one source. Many rivers all converging with the one unchanging force. Well, I can listen and I can love you, even if we don't agree. 'Cause where we come from and where we're going is the same for you and me. Like many rivers, we're returning in our own way to one source. Like many rivers, we're converging with the one unchanging force in our lives.
Good morning, Unity of Payson.
Good morning.
I'm delighted to see those of you here this morning in the seats. It's wonderful to feel that physical connection, and I'm delighted that you're with us virtually this morning. So both ways, we get the best of both worlds. I'm Reverend Neal Worthington. If you're with us for the first time, I welcome you, but would you take a moment to just join with me as we open in prayer? God of all goodness, today we think of those who have gone before us, our ancestors, and we honor them. We know that who we are has much to do with the legacy that they've given to us. And we think of those who we hold in memory on this day, 9/11, when many of our citizens lost their physical lives in a great tragedy. And we hold them and their family and those who love them up at this time of remembrance. Comfort, support, encourage, and love we send to them with divine energy as the conduit. So this morning, as we ask the question, who am I anyway? Let us know that together we are more than each of us individually, but individually we're important as well. So we cherish our oneness. We value the unique qualities and values and special abilities, skills, and just our personality that we bring to that oneness as individual expressions of the design. So as we join in this service, bless each one who has joined us, either in person or virtually, a family spread across miles and miles and miles, but yet undeniably one, as we are with all of creation. We give our gratitude again and again and again, and so it is. Amen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Donna. I'm your platform hostess this morning. And now it is time for our opening song, which is My Soul is Welcome Here, Daniel Namont. And you may send greetings in the chat during this time.
If you're here, you can stand up and sing. You can sit down. Here we go.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, yeah. All right. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here.
Welcome. It's time for a welcome and connection time and blessing of our visitors. Welcome to Unity of Payson. We're so glad you're with us this morning. We want to recognize anyone who's new to Payson, Unity of Payson. Payson and or Unity of Payson. If you're here in person for the first or second time, please raise your hand. Is anyone raising their hands?
Oh,
Okay. Well, if you're with us virtually and you're new, you may let us know by unmuting and saying hello. Or you can go to the contact page at unityofpayson.org and leave us a message. Later in the service, we will rotate the camera so those online can connect virtually with those who are in person. And there's nine Hollywood squares right now, but there may be more later as others join in. Again, we warmly welcome you. And from our Unity of Payson family, we say together the welcome prayer. And put it up on the screen, please. Thank you. Here we go. We love you. We bless you. We welcome you. And so it is. Now it is time for our gratitudes. We're grateful for those who support Unity of Payson with your time, talent, and treasure. We're grateful for the events of last week, which included morning cafe, qigong, cards and games, the World Day of Prayer Service, Course in Miracles, and the Writers Group. Woo! We're thankful for the technology that allows us to meet both in person and virtually. Now we're going to do something new. We're going to open it up to those online and those in person. If you have a gratitude to share, if you're online, you can just unmute to share your gratitude and mute again when you're finished. So I'll start as a prototype. I am really grateful. I just figured out that how to put Unity of Payson on the screen behind me on Zoom. And it doesn't interfere too much when I wave my hands around. So that's my gratitude. Anybody else have a gratitude they'd like to share this morning?
Speak up. Go ahead, Joanne.
I'm grateful to live in such a beautiful place. This morning, the dog and I were outside and an elk just walked up the neighbor's driveway and she had a wonderful morning being able to bark at it. So I'm happy for those things.
Right.
Thank you. Anyone else have a gratitude they care to share with us this morning?
I'm Frosty. I'm grateful for Unity of Payson. Thank you.
Thanks, Frosty.
I'm Joy, and I am grateful that my crazy little terrier has grown up a whole bunch, and now she's just a normal terrier. so I'm grateful to have her, and I'm grateful for all of you too.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for sharing a gratitude. We'll try this again next week and see how we go. All right. Unity is grounded in prayer and affirmative prayer and meditation. We have trained prayer chaplains to serve and support you. Chaplains are available to pray with you if you have a prayer concern.
Puppy, you okay?
Okay, so I'm just
Okay,
going to
sure.
ask everyone online to mute, please.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. If you have a prayer request, you can place one in the box at the greeters table if you're here in person. And if you're online, you can email Reverend Neal at neal.unityofpayson@gmail.com. That's neal.unityofpayson@gmail.com. Our prayer team and Silent Unity will join you in prayer for 30 days and another 30 days. We pray for 30 days at Unity of Payson, and then we forward the request to Silent Unity for another 30 days. All prayer requests are held sacred and confidential. If you have a prayer need and you're in person, tap one of our prayer chaplains on the shoulder after the service, and they will be glad to sit and pray with you in a quiet place. And I am a prayer chaplain, so if you put your email in the chat, I will pray with you by email. Let's say, so if you're here in person and you'd like prayer support, connect with one of our chaplains. They are wearing a prayer stole like this, blue and white. Okay, Unity of Payson's theme for September is integrity. Thanks for changing the slide there, Terry. I love this purple. My words and actions are in harmony with my values. I am whole and complete. Let's say that together. My words and actions are in harmony with my values. I am whole and complete. Thank you. Today's speaker, Reverend Neal Worthington, and the title of his talk is, Who Are You Anyway? And now for our daily word. The daily word is remembrance, September 11th, 2022. And the affirmation is, you live in my heart. Whether they have passed on recently or many years ago, the people for whom I have cared deeply are alive in my heart. If I feel sad or lonely for those I miss, I pause to recall a special memory or something unique about them that made even ordinary days feel magical. Reflecting on the love and joy we shared and the blessings their lives afforded me, I feel comforted. I'm thankful that these memories will always be mine to treasure. I know that life does not end with death. Life is eternal, and my loved ones will always be beautiful, beloved expressions of spirit. I am grateful those who have passed from this life experience continue to live in spirit and are forever in my heart. From Psalm 112:6, for the righteous will never be moved. They will be remembered forever. So I have a passage I would like to share additionally to the daily word, and it's called The Blessing of Memory. And it is from Gates of the House, the New Union Prayer Book, which is published by the Central Conference of American Rabbis in 1976. And it really was a comfort to me in the past. The blessing of memory, this is just part of that. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words. And what they did is part of what we have become. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world. In each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life now ended brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone and every life finds purpose. Okay, so now it is time for our speaker, Reverend Neal, to share the message with us today.
I have 3 daughters. They're all wonderful. But my middle daughter has a special and unique story that came to me as I was preparing for this message today. She was accepted, well, I should say she was dropped off at an orphanage in Paraguay, South America, when she was 6 days old, with a little note pinned to her on the front steps of the orphanage with nothing more than a name, Sarah Maria Belen. So there she was, and she had a little tough time with that first year of life before she was adopted. She never seemed to wake up at the right time to eat. And in a crowded orphanage in Paraguay, means she didn't get too much to eat. A year old, she was 13 pounds and in kind of rough shape. But even beyond that, the struggle for who she was and what she was in this world made her very unique. Good thing in the long run, but at that time it was pretty tough. She had a survival issue with food. Only certain foods, none of them touching each other, could be eaten. Vegetables were a definite no-no. She told me later on, well, Dad, French fries are a vegetable. I wasn't sure that I could kind of agree with her, but Sarah grew up in a loving home, still struggling, we could see in different ways, with the idea of knowing who she was, where she came from. She began to start asking questions about who her real mother was and where she came from. She was 100% Guarani Indian, and so she was very brown. She looked different than most of her schoolmates. I remember when she was in the 4th grade, she had a really wonderful teacher in the 4th grade. And the projects that this teacher presented them with were a lot of fun and sometimes very revealing. Well, this one project I remember particularly, it was a life timeline. 4th graders were making a life timeline of what happened at various years in their young life. Sarah had a really hard time with that. And we worked to try and find some things we could put in that timeline, and they were pretty few and far between. She was still working with the issue of who she was, but she got it completed and she was pretty proud of it. And I remember when we went to a parent-teacher event where they presented a food of their heritage, it came from their heritage. Well, it was Paraguayan cornbread with corn in it, which she wouldn't eat, but we took that anyway. Teacher came up to us and she said something that really got me. She said, that timeline we did, I know Sarah struggled with it, but she said on her timeline, the most important thing that was there was the year I got a dad. Whew. Did that get me? Her mom had adopted her as a single person, and I adopted her later on. And so we came together at 3 years of age for her. But she remembered that, and that was the highlight of her life. That was something that gave her a sense of who she was. Her story isn't an isolated one. I'm not sure if I've seen it in movies or if I'm just sensitive to it and imagine it in my mind, but I can see stories of pre-verbal children with a note pinned on them saying who they are, because they couldn't even articulate that themselves. So I made a note for myself this morning. Has a little bit of information on it. Has my name, where I came from, who my father was and who my mother was. Well, I'm working to get this pinned on here. I would like to get it pinned on. Right, if I squawked, it's because I missed my shirt and got myself. Okay, there it is, more or less. But that's only a start with who I am. That's just the very basics. Like Sarah had only a name. I have only a little bit of information, and these images that I have of children waiting for adoption or lost at Ellis Island or whatever that image may be, with a note pinned on them, gave them only the merest idea of identity. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about identity because it fits in beautifully with our theme for the month, which is the theme of integrity. Knowing who we are is a start to living in integrity. We're going to have a tough time with that if we don't have a sense of who we are. So let's jump into that. In Unity, we often talk about ourselves as being a spiritual being having a human experience, having a physical experience. Well, I'm going to change that just a little bit today. I think we are divine beings having a human experience. Divine beings have a human experience. So we are both. We have two identities. We have a divine identity. We have a human identity. Both of them are value, and as they harmonize together, we begin to know who we are. When we do, we can then live in concert with our values and live, therefore, in integrity. But there's some choices to be made along the way. So let's look at it. First of all, what is this idea of divine identity and human identity? Let's start with human identity. The dictionary defines identity as the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. Simple. Or a different dictionary, the distinguishing character or personality of an individual, individuality. That's what identity can be defined of from a human perspective. And these identities are all really different, and none of them is wrong. None of them is bad, or none of them is insufficient. If you were to go to a social occasion, you might be in a room where you don't know most of the people, and somebody might ask you, first of all, your name, one little bit of identity. And I said, well, what do you do? Another little bit of identity. Or what do you really like? What's exciting to you? These are bits of identity, but I don't think they're the whole of it. They're a role. They're a personality perspective. They're a characteristic that you show. They might even be a face that you put on in order to get approval from somebody else. This is human identity, but it's more than that. It's not just roles or the public personality you may have, or even the mimicry you have of somebody else. There are an awful lot of people, and I must confess, I've been one at times who thought, gee, if I would be like so-and-so, perhaps a famous person, an actor, a musician, a celebrity, perhaps a leader. If I would just be like that, then I'll be all right. Well, human identity isn't like that, because it comes from within us as everything else. It's not something that we latch onto out there and adopt. It's not even what we think sometimes. It's more than that. It comes from within us. It comes from I think, primarily the desires of our heart. We've talked about that before, but what is it that we really have as a desire? This is the potential of our human identity. I love what one of our, well, actually, it is our first Unity writer had to say, Emily Cady. She was talking about manifesting things in your life primarily, but I think it's about identity as well. So I'm going to switch how it's applied just a little bit. And here's what Katie had to say. Remember this: desire in the heart for anything, including being who you want to be, is God's sure promise sent beforehand to indicate that is yours already in the limitless realm of supply, and whatever you want, you can have for the asking. So identity links with that heart desire. Who do I want to be? We may judge ourselves and say, oh, I'm not as good as I should be. I'm not brilliant. I'm not beautiful. We could say I'm not about a lot of things. We're speaking about our lack. But what Katie points us to is that anything that is the desire of our heart is available to us. It just may mean a change of perspective is necessary for us to get there. So we look at that desires of the heart. We look at things like our passions. What are we passionate about? I heard Joy, hi Joy, talked about passion for her pet. Rosie, I think it is her name. If I'm remembering correctly, you can correct me.
Yes, you're remembering correctly. Yes.
Oh, I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, you are.
There's a passion that I see in Joy for a couple of things. One, I know it's classical music. She has a classical music program that she hosts over radio. Ask Marianne, she knows all about that. She'll tell you when it is, and it's a great, great thing. But that passion is an indicator to who you are. What's your passion? Pay attention to that. That'll help to tell you who you are, particularly in this human sphere, your sphere of human identity. One thing more about this human identity. If you're imperfect, it doesn't mean you don't have an identity. Because that identity, that unique and authentic you that you begin to discover by looking at your heart's desire, looking at what you want to be, looking at what you're choosing to be, that's going to be something that will stand you in good stead, because you're using even your imperfections to see the perfection. Perfection in imperfection. So whatever warts you have, whatever you didn't do, whatever errors you have made, they're still part of your identity, and it's perfect. Those imperfections are perfect. The author Brené and researcher Brené Brown puts it this way. She talks about how some people are looking for perfectionism. They're not satisfied unless they're absolutely perfect. Perfectionism, she says, is not the same thing as striving to be your best. So the issue is not whether I achieved a certain level of perfection that I say I've got to reach in order for it to be right, in order for my identity to be what I want it to be. Striving to be the best will get me there. She goes on to say, perfectionism is the belief that if we live perfect, look perfect, and act perfect, we can minimize or avoid the pain of blame, judgment, and shame. So get away from perfectionism. Toss it out the window, knowing that you are perfect in your imperfection. Notice now that we're going to make a little bit of a shift. And the shift isn't to go extremely to the other side. The shift is to see from a different perspective. As we shift from human identity to divine identity. There were 5 of us, I think, that joined here in Payson, and you can't quite picture it so easily if you're not sitting here, if you're with us virtually. But we sat on Wednesday evening and observed the opening ceremonies for World Day of Prayer, Unity World Day of Prayer. And Linda Martella Whitsett, the leader of Silent Unity, shared with us the idea that when we pray, even in that context, we allow ourselves those imperfections. We allow ourselves to be both human and divine. So we are fully human and fully divine. Now let's get to that part of fully divine, the divine identity that we sometimes talk about, but maybe sometimes also misunderstand. Divine identity is not goody two-shoes, just showing to the world how good we are. Not that. It's not hanging a halo over your head to look good. And it's even not like being the same as someone else. Because there are no 2 of us that are exactly the same. It's not, even if I may say it, it's not being like Jesus. It's being like that divine that lives within us, that divine expression, that Christ within us in our own uniqueness. We still have a divine identity. It correlates, it interplays with our human identity. But it has some characteristics that we can look to and grow into. You remember a scripture that says we're made in the image and likeness of the divine. That doesn't mean that the picture of us is going to look just exactly like a picture of God, if a picture were to be possible. It means that there's something about us that looks like, there's something about our very nature that is like the divine. And it is us, it is our identity. Have you ever seen, oh, I'm sure you have, maybe you've been this way, somebody who constantly sees the glass not half full, but empty, sees the glass as empty. And then there are those that see the glass as full, and all sorts of places in between. What do we know about the divine? What resonates with us about the divine? I know for me, there's something that took root early and continues to take root and grows. And that is that the divine, the very nature of reality is good. I call it omnibeneficence. Big word, but good. I wish I could come up with a great acronym for good. Something different I haven't heard. If anybody's got one, let me know. God, I have one for God. I know, Marianne. Good, orderly design. I've heard different things. What's yours, Marianne?
This is an acronym for God.
Yes, what's that?
Well, the G is good. So I haven't got an acronym.
Well, we're working on it. But good, is that implanted within you? And don't look for it out here. Is that implanted within you? The idea that good is the prevailing truth of the universe. Maybe it started for me when I read the Genesis and the creation story and said it after every day, and God said that it was good. But I think it was much more than that. Something within me just grew, and I nourished that. I nourished that. And I chose to think that again and again and again. And it became my belief that goodness is the nature of the divine and of the divine within me. And now I have to take that being fully divine that I am and let that harmonize with being fully human. Wow, it's wonderfully complex. It's no one of us could be alike when we do that, when we see the blend of being fully human and fully divine. Beautiful thing about it is when we do that, we have the possibility with that as a fundamental basis to live life in integrity, to take our values and use those as the springboard that helps us select and choose our actions. We live then in integrity, but it's all a part of that process because we know who we are to start with. So why is this important? Well, it's important because of what I talked about a minute ago, beliefs. What we believe about ourselves is what's going to show up in the world. We believe we're insufficient. We believe we're weak. If we believe we're error prone, that will show up in the world. So knowing our identity is crucial. I appreciated what Reverend Julianne had to say last week. I wasn't here, but I watched the recording. And if any of you don't get to take in every bit of it, every service, go back and look at Terry's, thanks to Terry, you'll have the recording in the newsletter on Monday morning. You can go back and listen, or can do like Marianne does. She listens again anyway, even if she's heard it once. So take that in. Take that in. And what Julianne had to say was how important it is, the words that we speak. Be impeccable with your word, was what she shared from Don Miguel Ruiz and the Four Agreements. Be impeccable with your word. So it's important that we have a sense of identity because that's going to give us a clue with regard to how we speak. It's important because it's going to make us whole. Sometimes we feel incomplete. Sometimes we feel like we're never going to make it. Integrity is completeness and wholeness. And when we have a sense of our identity, we're well along the road to completeness and wholeness. We're going to get there a lot faster. Our identity is going to give us a sense of what our values are too. Have you ever done the experiment of figuring out your core values or the core values for an organization that you're a part of? You maybe list a lot of things and then you zero it down and say, well, these are the real core values that we have. We did that here at Unity of Payson. That shows up in our mission and vision statements, which we do on the first Sunday of the month. We share them together here in the service. Again, knowing what our values are, because we understand our identity, will allow us to choose rightly. Just a word about knowing who you are. I don't know if anybody's a history buff and think about the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, ancient Greece. Over the portal, what was the number one thing that was said? Anybody know? Know thyself. Know thyself. Socrates echoed that as well. Said to know yourself is the beginning of wisdom. And that's been echoed again and again throughout history by spiritual masters. Jung even said it. He who looks outside dreams, says Jung. who looks inside to his true identity, awakes. And then one that I really like, the Gospel of Thomas. I'm not sure if any of you studied the Gospel of Thomas, but Gospel of Thomas says this: when you know yourself, then you will be known. And you will understand that you are children of the living Father. But if you do not know yourself, then you live in poverty. So much of the legacy, the divine legacy that we have, is limited because we don't know ourselves. So let's get down to it. How do we do this? Well, Buddhists, Zen Buddhists, have something they call cones. Anybody know what a cone is? Wave your hand or kind of send me a message. A cone is a simple statement, question really, that doesn't have an answer. That doesn't seem to be very helpful at first, but it can be. So one of the classic koans from Zen Buddhism is, who am I? Who am I? And the Zen master would tell you to sit and ask the question, get the impression or the answer that comes to you, set it aside. And then ask the question again, who am I? Receive the answer, set it aside. And again, until you get to that place where you really have no answer. The answer at the very best is, I am. And that's a powerful answer from what we know in unity. I am that I am. And what I'd like you to do, Marianne, there were some, for those of you who are here, now, if you're with us virtually, find a piece of paper, because we're going to do a little exercise here. It's going to be done sort of in quiet. It's a pre-meditation meditation or something like that. And if you will pass out, there are little stickers. And if you have a pen, grab it. If you don't, I think Charlotte's bringing some pens too for those in person. But if you're at home, grab a piece of paper and a pencil. This is something you're going to pin on you like I pinned on. Well, we can stick it on you here because it's got a sticky backing. So let's get everybody with these. And we're gonna just do a little exercise here. Now, you may not get all the way to the answer that you want or the non-answer that you want in terms of who you are in your dual roles, your dual identities of human and divine. I've got mine here too. But now that we've got everybody ready, those of you online ready as well? You can do this any way you want. You can write when you're ready. You can not write. You can draw pictures. You can do whatever you want to it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do something similar to what a Zen Buddhist would do. We're going to get a little bit quiet here. So quiet, no, don't forget the stuff I said, but just put it on the side for a minute. Look at yourself. Look within. Don't look outside. Don't look into what you've thought in the past. But look inside and say, who am I? Don't write yet. Just say, who am I? Whatever answer came to you, put that aside for a moment and ask the same question again. Who am I? And set it aside. Do this a couple more times. Who am I? What comes to you? Set that aside. Once more. Who am I? So in small letters, maybe in a corner someplace, write down what you arrived at the last time. If you wrote the other ones, you'll kind of see the progression. It could be something like, I'm the father of these kids. I'm a nurse. I'm a teacher. I'm a free spirit. Could be anything. It could be simply, I am love. It could be, I am strength. I am faith. Could be just, I am. Any of those things, whatever you arrived at. Hold on to that now. And then when we go into meditation, after our meditation song, we're going to take this even a little bit deeper. But you're looking at, who am I? Remember, there's two sides of this. The human and the divine that interact and interplay to be who you are, which is the basis of the integrity that you choose in your life. Go back to this. You're going to pin this on yourself eventually. But back to this. This little child is discovered, and there's a little bit of information. And finally, that lost child is brought together again with its family. Finally, that child that never even knew who they were finds some little bit of movement ahead, some way of life, hopefully a loving family. So the question is that we've been dealing with, and don't forget, we're not quite done. We're going to do with this in meditation as well. I just want you to remember that when you acknowledge your human identity, when you claim your divine identity, you integrate them. You can choose your actions. You can choose to live in integrity. Go on to our meditation time song now. So it is.
Okay, so now it is time to prepare for meditation, and we will be listening to a meditation song, I See Divinity in You.
I see divinity in you. I see the Christ coming through in all of my passion for life and for love, in all of the glory that you are made of, now and forever, on earth and above. I see divinity in you. I feel divinity in me. I feel the Christ coming through, exploring the vision that I've never known, inviting the presence. I am not alone, accepting the Spirit of Christ as my own. I feel divinity in me. I see the wonder we are, shining a light through the dark. We don't have tomorrow, but we have today. Let none of its treasure go slipping away. Here and hereafter, through love we can say, I see the wonder we are. I see the wonder we are.
Let's remain in this quiet place. Allow yourself to slip even deeper to the world within and the world within you. There's more within than there is without. We just haven't explored it. So in the quiet, be grateful. Be grateful for the uniqueness of you, the wonder of you, as the song says. Be grateful for all of your warts, all of your missteps, all of the wondrous things about you, independent of what anybody else thinks. Be grateful. So I want you to take that last answer you come up with. Who am I? Whatever that is. I want you to spend time with me now as we go into the silence and just contemplate that. Just look at that. See if it morphs and changes even more. See if it evolves as you spend time within in quiet. So again, who am I? What was your answer? Bring it into focus and then take it into the silence to contemplate. And how did that change, or did it remain the same? How did knowing that you have a divine identity, knowing that all of your human experience is just perfect imperfection, how does that help you answer the question of who am I? See if you can zero in on what your answer is right at this moment. It's the answer you already have on your piece of paper or your little sticky. Go ahead and write it big. Write it big. I am blank, whatever that is. That's where you are on the perfect journey right now. You don't want to be any place other than where you actually are. You don't want to be any more in knowing your identity than you know at this moment, but you don't want to stand still either. So know that what you write big at this moment will change. It will move onward. It will move upward. The answer will seem different, and you may arrive at a place of peace of just knowing that I am, that divine delight of knowing I am. So come and bring your attention back to this time and this place. Hope I didn't try to get you to write while you were deep, deep in meditation. I'm going to grab a pen so I can write mine. And I invite you to write, I am, and then whatever has come up for you in this process. And then put a smiley face around it or something like that. If you're bold enough and you're at home, take that paper and pin it on you or stick it on you. You're bold enough and you're here. Take it and stick it to your chest. It'll be a nice conversation in the social time we have later. A deep conversation. Those are the good ones. So thank you for working with me today. Thank you for thinking deeply, for contemplating, for taking this into the quiet and knowing yourself a bit more than you did before you tuned in on the service or walked in the door. And so it is. Yeah, it's done. It's possible that we've lost Donna. Donna, oh, there you are.
I am, this is mine. I am life energy calling to itself. I am life energy calling to itself. And there it is. And you can't see it now, but it's there. Okay. Now it is time to share our gifts and offerings. Unity of Payson appreciates your gifts in support of this ministry. These gifts not only support this ministry and this spiritual community, but they also go out to the larger community in tithes. As you listen to the offering song, you'll have time to make a contribution. The offering basket will be passed in person also. If you're attending virtually, we have information for giving on the slides. So let's bring our attention to our gift at this time. And let's call to mind our heart's desires. And together, let us affirm, freely we give, and freely we receive. And our offering song is Gotta Be True, Daniel Neymar.
Am I nervous? Of course I am. You don't even have to ask. Facing a mystery, anyone would be. One more step and it's out of my hands. There can be no turning back. Can't say what's in front of me. You know I can't wait to see. This is something I owe to myself. This is something I've just gotta do. I don't know what I'll find, but there's one thing I know about my life. true. Oh yeah. I remember, of course I do, how I used to hear my heart, what I most want to be, what I most long to see. Well, that voice has faded so far away, I hardly recognize myself. What happened to me? No wonder I couldn't breathe. This is something I owe to myself. This is something I've just gotta do. I don't know what I'll find, but there's one thing I know about my life. It's gotta be, yeah, it's just gotta be true. It's been a lifelong habit, gave away my power, playing follow the leader again and again. Well, my soul won't have it, I won't hide or cower. I'm ready to dive back in. This is something I owe to myself. This is something I've just gotta do. This is something I owe to myself. This is something I've just gotta do. I don't care what I'll find, but there's one thing I know about my life. It's gotta be true. It's gotta be true. It's gotta be true.
Well, that's a perfect song. That's a perfect song about speaking our truth and being real and being fully human and being fully divine at the same time. We're grateful for these gifts. We're grateful for their abundance. We bless the gifts, we bless the givers. And let us say together the dedication. Divine love flowing through us blesses and multiplies all that we are, all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. We are abundantly prosperous, and we are grateful. And so it is. Amen. Now it's time to connect with our in-person gathering. We'll rotate the camera so those online can see those in person. If you'd like to wave as the camera passes you, feel free to do so. And we're grateful for those who have joined us virtually.
Let people see. Everybody, well, more or less.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for a great AV, Terry. All right, so next Sunday's speaker is Reverend Neal Worthington. And we continue with our theme, integrity. The affirmation, my words and actions are in harmony with my values. I am whole, I am complete. And Reverend Neal's talk is Sink or Sink? Question mark. Think about it. All right. So on the last page of the order of service is the upcoming events. Yay. I will share a few announcements today. Please check the website at unityofpayson.org or the Monday e-newsletter for all the details. Our regular weekly events are on Zoom, Morning Cafe, Monday through Saturday, 9:30 to 10. It's a short half hour, but it's intense, it's profound, and it's packed. Please join us. Qigong and Tai Chi moving meditation with Teresa on Sundays and Wednesdays at 4:30 to 5:10. That's a 40-minute, it's a good workout. If you want some exercise, it's a good workout. And you can do it from home because it's on Zoom. This Zoom channel, Sunday and Wednesday at 4:30. Cards and games at Kay's every Thursday at 1 p.m. The gathering is at Kay's today at 1 p.m. Solfeggio chime meditation with Kay. And then, of course, we have organic gardening at Shanti Olmsted. Please contact Ram to participate. And this Thursday, September 15th at 11 till noon, the prayer chaplains meeting. Oh, whoops, that's not right. That's not right. I'm sorry. It is the third Saturday. We changed it to accommodate those who couldn't make it on Thursdays. So the third Saturday is the 17th, this Saturday from 11 till noon at church. At the church this Saturday, prayer chaplains. We have a big celebration, fall equinox. If you could, fall equinox at Shanti Olmsted, Saturday, September 24th, 4 to 8 p.m. We have a farm tour, a community feast, a campfire, songs, and register and say what dish you plan to bring. And there's shuttle if info will be provided, and there's a registration link, which, I'm not sure how you can grab a hold of that unless you are able to copy this onto your computer. It'll come in the Monday e-newsletter. Okay, and then we have a new members class. The first one is Wednesday, September 28th, and it's also October 5th at 5 p.m. in person and on Zoom. Aren't we getting technical? Please see Reverend Neal if you would like to become a member of Unity of Payson. And then we have PS from Neal.
Just a couple of things. Back on the table, at the back, the welcome table, there are little flyers about that fall equinox celebration as well, or ask Ram, he knows everything about it. So you can ask Ram if you're here. If you're with us virtually, come in town for that occasion, and be here for Sunday too. No, I'm kidding. Well, not really. Also, we have co-opted the front of the refrigerator in the back. There is now a calendar on that refrigerator that you can look at just to remind. So while you're socializing, if you're here in person, you can gather around the refrigerator, and we've put flyers up there. One of the things that's up there, next Sunday, there is a shot clinic here in this room at 11:30. So I'll have to remember not to talk too long next week. So there will be a shot clinic, vaccination for COVID boosters or COVID shots, as well as flu vaccinations available here in the room. No reservation necessary, just be here, and that's available here. Arranged by Payson United Methodist Church, and we're grateful to that, and they are delighted to have us participate with them. So I think that's it that we've got for this time. New members, again, if you're interested in being a part of this group, and if you just want to know a little bit more about Unity too, those classes are gonna help with that. So you can join, but let me know about that. Time for us to circle up if we're here in person. And if you will join us, if you're online, as we sing the peace song and then the prayer for protection afterward. So here we go. We're more or less making everybody get out of their chair, and that's okay. I'm gonna join up here with us. So anytime, go ahead, Terry.
Thank you.
And the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. And the presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you for being here. If you're here with us in person, there's goodies, and go look at that refrigerator.
There's the 12 powers on the refrigerator too.